Thank you for joining the session on this evening, or especially on a week long last week of the year as well as a working day. So much appreciated your time. So the topic that we are trying to cover here is overbought and oversold. Basically, they are oscillators, part of technical analysis, and with a move to have a deep dive on relative strength index, or RSI as it's called in a short form, right? So basically, this will be having little bit of overlap of what we had discussed on Sunday. So bear with me if you have already attended on Sunday. Otherwise, this will be a quick overview would be interesting or important for you to set the base. Right. So what we'll be covering here is key concepts, the overbought and oversold zones, trend identification, trend reversals, trading strategies, and complementary indicators along with RSI. Right. So basically, what does this technical indicators tell, right, or oscillator tells? So the class of oscillators, especially the overbought, oversold oscillators, it tells you that at any point of time, where the position of stock vis-a-vis its demand and supply is at a very high level. It's not an absolute number, as we have discussed yesterday also, that nothing is absolute in technical analysis or any kind of analysis for that matter, right? So basically, it tells you that where it is at that point of time. So if the value is beyond a certain level, for example, in this diagram that we have, the range is between 0 to 100. Based on the indicator, the hypothetical indicator, if it is above 70, then it's considered as overbought. If it is below 30, then it's considered as oversold, right? So this is one single number based on which your analysis can start, or basically you can start your analysis, right? It's a very, very simple way. The other day we discussed two parts of technical analysis. One was more on the price action part, second was on the technical indicator. So what we discussed is basically whatever the price action does, you have an equivalent or nearly equivalent technical indicator along with that, right? So consider these as extreme oversupply or over demand zone where it goes beyond certain levels, right? So similarly, there's oversold level. So if the stock or stock price were to fall below certain level and indicator shows that it is below this line, oversold line, then it's called oversold. Now, what should you be doing with overbought and oversold, right? These are levels of cautions. Aggressive trader can go with absolute number that if it is above 70, they can buy and sell. Yes, you can make some money, but there's a risk involved with that. If it is oversold, if it is below 30, go and buy here. It's likely to go up. Yes, that is the starting point of this this analysis. But as we go through the entire video, right, we'll see that some of the pitfalls of using absolute number and some of the pitfalls of using these numbers like 70, 30, 50, right? So these numbers or the utility of these numbers vary depending on the stock, depending on the market, and many more factors which we'll consider. So we have about 10 plus strategies. So bear with me. It is going to be a slightly longer session. We'll try to cover each strategy so that by end of this session, you'll have a fairly good idea how to trade using these indicators, and especially on relative strength index. That's the indicator or the oscillator that we are diving into today, right? So basically, as we have seen, right, the technical indicators, there are a lot of oscillators or indicators which are plotted below the price chart. So this is how typically a price chart along with a technical oscillator would appear, right? So on top, you'll have these charts, right, whether it's candlestick or any other chart form that you want or you want to have. And at the bottom, there'll be the indicator which will say that which is oscillating between a range, where the range in this particular case is 0 to 100, right? So if you see as the price moves, there is not 100% correlation, but there's a tendency of the oscillator also to move in that direction. So the price goes up, oscillator moves up, price comes down, oscillator comes down, and so on and so forth, and the cycle continues to happen. Right? This is at a very, very minimalistic way of looking things. Right? So let's see how these oscillators look in a real chart, right? So let's look at one of the technical screener. Relative strength, for example, we are looking at any stock which is overbought in NSE 500 range. So you'll see that about India is in overbought territory, which as per RSI it is above 70. So and then previous RSI was 84, right? So let's see how this looks like in a chart, typical chart. Right, so once you expand it, right, so this is how typically the movement of the indicator. So it's not exactly the same way as the price moves. Obviously, if it does not serve any purpose, right? So the idea is it moves slightly different, so that this indicator will come and help to see where the particular state of the stock is, whether it is a good entry point or a good exit point, right? This is where typically the oscillators are plotted along with the price chart, right? So in this you'll have certain overbought zone. So anything above this red line is overbought zone. Anything which is below the green line is oversold zone, right? So the key indicators, right, which are overbought oversold indicators that are used by most of the technical analysts, like relative strength index, stochastic indicators, commodity channel, money flow, ultimate oscillator, and Arun oscillator. So in TopStockResearch, we have all these indicators with detailed screening, as well as detailed information about about the stock, right? So we have gone through some of the key overbought and oversold indicators: relative strength, stochastic, commodity channel index, money flow index, ultimate oscillator, Arun oscillator, right? So these are certain well-known and well-established indicator. A lot of professional analysts use them, right? So oscillator that we are covering as a part of our deep dive is relative strength index, right? So what is relative strength index? It's an indicator developed by James Wilder way back in 78. The reason why we mentioned way back 78, right, is basically to tell you that what is the level of its maturity and level of its acceptance even after 40 plus years. A lot of people, in fact, one of the most common oscillator used by analysts, including the professional traders, right, they use this one. So it's a very time-tested indicator, and it provides a pretty good quality signal, which we'll see the strategies as we go along. The number two is their set of it's a mathematical formula, not a very complex formula. If you understand it, well and good. If you don't understand, you don't need to, because there are a lot of tools available which calculates these value, both in form of charts, absolute value, and in form of screeners like what we have in TopStockResearch, right? So proceeding with this. Now there are a lot of variations in RSI, right? As we see the formula here, so it says that average gain, average loss, and this stuff, right? So again, the average, right? The averages can vary. There can be a simple moving average, there can be exponential, there can be wider moving average, and so on and so forth. So accordingly, the implementation of RSI is or the value of RSI are different in different platforms, right? Unless you understand that the way that particular value is calculated, there could be some sort of confusion that platform A is showing X, then platform B is showing Y, right? So the one which we use or which we call as RSI in TopStockResearch uses simple moving average, right? That is why if you compare with some of those platforms, especially the recent platforms which have come, they tend to prefer RSI smooth. What it means is it's a slight different implementation in formula. RSI smooth, as the name says, that it is smoother than RSI. That means it's slightly more lagging in terms of the interpretation or in terms of signals, right? Then there's an stochastic RSI. So you remember, guys, in the previous slides that we have seen that there are a lot of different overbought oversold indicator. One of them is stochastic, right? Now, if the stochastic indicator is normally plotted on price or one of the derivative of price, but if the stochastic indicator is plotted on top of RSI, then it is called stochastic RSI, right? So again used by lot of traders, and gives fairly good quality of signals, right? Then again, similar to RSI and RSI smooth, you have an stochastic RSI and stochastic RSI smooth. So the smooth version are generally it does little more smoothing of the key indicator, right? We'll see what those things are when we compare all those RSIs together in one single page, right? So why would you use different indicators, a different variation of RSI, or maybe different overbought and oversold indicators? Because of these many things. How much that particular indicator is lagging vis-a-vis price. What is your aggressiveness, right? Do you enter trade as soon as it hits a value, or do you want to really get confirmation, right, that it's in that particular zone for slightly longer time? Reliability obviously is important. The more aggression, the lesser the reliability is. The lesser the aggression, higher the reliability. But at the same time, you may miss out on the quick moves, or basically the price may have moved already by that time you react to that, right? And the way these indicators are derived, which in a very simple terms are mathematical formulas on which these signals are derived. So let me show you these four indicators in one single view. So this is RSI. Let me give you to our favorite, or the most commonly used index, Nifty, right? So if you see the movements out here, not sure if it would be legible in all those screen resolution, but just see that all these indicators, right, at any point of time shows different set of points. Now if you see RSI, this responds much faster to the price compared to RSI smooth. So depending on your risk profile, right, you may choose RSI or RSI smooth or stochastic RSI, whichever you feel more comfortable with. So stochastic RSI moves slightly slower compared to slightly faster compared to stochastic RSI smooth, right? So there are different set of formulas on which these numbers are calculated. By default, the standard period for RSI is 14. But feel free to change it. Different analysts use it for different purpose, right? I see there are few questions which are mentioned here. Let's see. Awesome oscillator. Awesome oscillator is not typically overbought and oversold, right? So we can cover. If you want to know that about awesome oscillator, it's there in. You can plot it in the chart, as well as you can screen those values, right? Awesome oscillator values using our screeners. Okay. So the idea of this particular session, right, is to keep focus on these oscillators with RSI as a deep dive, right? So we'll take one RSI now. Going forward, there are four RSIs which we have discussed, right? There are different things that you will be seeing: 14, 3, close, right? All these things that we'll drill down into it in a short while. Okay. Right. So RSI and TSR. You can have the value on a particular stock. That means the absolute value of RSI. You can have as a pre-screened. That means anything which is above 70 of RSI is considered as overbought range. You can screen on that. Then you have DIY screeners or custom screeners where you can customize RSI. We'll get into that in coming sessions or coming slides. Then you can plot RSI along with its moving average, right? So remember yesterday we saw, or on Sunday we saw that you can plot price with moving average. Here you can plot RSI and its moving average, right? So which we'll see. RSI with swing rejection, then cross-tick RSI screening, RSI trending, right? And RSI charts, right? So these are certain things which are readily available in TopStockResearch, which you can use in any of these tools to make a good trade or a good trading decision, right? And then RSI in watch list, which we'll see in a short while. Okay. Obviously, along with everything that we have in the system, if you don't get the information at right point of time, then you may miss the bus, right? So basically, TopStockResearch has a very sophisticated alerting mechanism. Right? If you have any questions regarding any of these points, right, which may not cover in details in this session, you can always call us or write back to us. We'll try to arrange a session with you to explain things in greater details. Okay. All right. So RSI deep dive, right? So RSI deep dive in TSR. First is a brief analysis, what that particular value means to you at that moment and its signal, right? So let's see where these things are. So when you plot RSIs, right, or when you look at RSI of an individual stock, you'll see that it has the value. Obviously, it has to have a value, right? That's the key thing that users look for. Then number two, it has an indicator which tells you that where it is, right? So you see there are certain indicators which are marked in green, certain neutral. Here in this case of RSI, it is red. That's why it is marked as bearish. So you can have mild bearish, strong bearish, right, or bearish. Why it is bearish is because it is below that level, number one. Number two, if you look at this commentary, typically if you go with purely textbook style, right? So if it is below 30, then there's a tendency or basically a lot of tools will say, you know, it is overbought and then you should buy it. Right? But here, despite of it being less than 30, we are showing as bearish because it is continuously going down, right? There's a strong downtrend and the RSI value is also falling, right? So buying here is not a good idea, right? You have to look at more of the details, right? So the point which we are trying to highlight here is basically in TopStockResearch Deep Dive, you'll not only get the value, it's a corresponding color coding and little bit of commentary out here, right? So let's go and see one of those values. Let's say we go into Nifty to see where the RSI is, right? Technical indicator, right? Let's add RSI. So RSI of Nifty as we speak is 38.5. It clearly doesn't tell you a lot of things. That is why it is neutral out here. And the commentary here is wait for proper trend to emerge. Along with that, what you can do is you can look RSI chart, right? So it clearly does not tell you a lot of things out here. So that is why it is marked as amber or basically neutral color, so that you can look at it, right? Also, what you can do here is basically in relative strength, the default value of relative strength index is basically 14. What you can do is you can change it, and also what you can do is you can change the overbought oversold level. So if you feel that 30 is not the right value for basically oversold and 70 is not right for this, you can change it to another value, and accordingly the commentary will change. For example, if we mark this as 60 and 40, 60 and 40, let's see what the commentary changes, right? So commentary says that it is oversold, right? So based on the value that you do here, the commentary changes, and also what you can do here is basically you can set those values out here to see where those things are, right? So here the value of RSI is still 14, but because we marked that as 40 and 60, that is why it is showing as oversold, right, out here. So this is the way where you can go into a particular stock, do a little bit of analysis on top of it. You'll get a ready-made number. You have color coding also up here, right? Color coding also up here, which will tell you that what it means by this RSI value, right? So that's what we meant by the RSI brief analysis, strength indicator, color, and signal, right? A brief commentary is available. This is available not only for RSI but for all those indicators that are in the system, right? Okay. So that's about RSI on TopStockResearch, right, on an individual stock, before we go into proper trading strategies, right? Now, as we discussed, anything which is above, so purely for RSI perspective, right? Let's say we go back here and go back to its factory settings, default settings. If you see the key levels of RSI is 14 is the period, overbought level is 70, and oversold level is 30. Right? So it's plotted on close price, right? So anything which is above 70, what you should be doing is either you should be looking to exit, or you should, even if you are looking to get there, you should be very cautious in dealing, because there's a substantial movement which has happened, right? And as we discussed in yesterday's session, the price definitely moves in trends. It goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. So even not every time you'll be able to catch the signal, because but what you can try to do is you can try to minimize your risk, right, by not entering into a particular equity when it crosses 70, right? So purely from the textbook, or a lot of training institute tells you that over 70 is buy, over below 30 is sell, right? So we have a screener for that, which is for overbought oversold strategies. The second strategy that we have is RSI reversal. So what it does is it helps you to identify the reversals using RSI, right? So this becomes a lot more powerful compared to the previous one. So that's the second strategy we'll be following. Third strategy we'll be following is RSI trending, right? How RSI is trending, whether up or down. The fourth one we'll be discussing here is divergence strategy. So how do you make use of RSI divergence with the price? The next one is RSI with its moving average crossover, right? So how RSI moving average crossover affects or gives you a good trading signal. The next one is swing rejection. When we go in there, then it'll probably appear a little more interesting. Otherwise, it looks like a lot of jargons out here. Then RSI confirmation on multiple time frames. That means if RSI is X on a daily time frame, you may want to validate on weekly and monthly also, or maybe on 2 hours also, that how it is faring on the other time frame. One particular time frame can give you one results. The other, if they are not confirming, then depending on your basically aggressiveness, you may not want to get in or get out of the position. Next one is RSI double top. So remember guys, yesterday we discussed that a double top on price. Similarly, a double top or double bottom can be observed in RSI. Other patterns apart from trend line, double top, double bottom, I don't see there are a lot of patterns which really fits into RSI, but RSI double top, double bottom and trend line, these are three patterns which generally are pretty useful when it comes to RSI, right? Then RSI on trending stocks. So how do you trade using RSI on a trending stock, right? So if the stock is trending, then the way you deal on RSI is different than the traditional or a sideways market, right? So then RSI for day trading and RSI for swing trading. So these are certain topics that we'll be trying to cover in this particular session, right? So trading with overbought and oversold levels. So key levels, as we briefly discussed, right, are 70, which is considered as X overbought, 30 is considered as oversold, and 50 is the midline, right? That means it's in basically a sort of neutrality zone. Okay, so let's see the screeners what we have in Top Stock Research for these particular levels. Right? So when you go back here and go to technical screeners. In technical screener, you have RSI. If you're looking for any stock which is in overbought level on a daily tick, right? So there's no stock on blue chip. Let's see on NSE 500, right? So there are these three stocks which fulfill the criteria where the stock is in overbought range, right? So go look at it. So all the three stocks are plotted around here. You can navigate to the next stock, right? So all these stocks are above that 70 level. Right? Now these are pre-screened. That means the values are fixed with the standard numbers. However, if you are looking for a different set of values, what you can do is you can go to DIY screener, go to technical indicator, choose RSI, choose any value, right? So if it is, let's say, instead of 70, you want to keep it as 80, right? And when we are running on okay, there's no results. 80 is too bad a number for this market. Right? So let's keep it as 65. Maybe we'll get more stocks now. Right? So these are number of stocks which fulfill this criteria. Right? So what a custom screener or DIY screener does is it gives you ability to filter on a particular number other than the standard numbers what we have in the system. Okay. The second one is again coming back on the pre-screened, because if this indicator is new to you, perhaps you'll go very slow, starting with the pre-screen, do a little bit of testing what these things are available, right? For example, if you are looking at any stock which is in overbought range for, or maybe over what we have seen, let's see if it is in oversold range for more than 3 days, right? So you'll see that these many stocks are in the oversold range. That means there's a possibility of bouncing back at any point of time, right? For example, let's look at HCL Technologies. When you look at HCL Technologies, expand the chart, you'll see that this particular stock is in oversold range for a very long period of time, right? And likely to get over here. That means a good bottom is getting formed, and once this level is crossed, right, then obviously you can, based on your analysis, you can take a decision on that. Right. So idea of this particular one is to tell you that they are pre-screened, which works purely on the standard numbers, standard formulas, overbought, oversold, all the 14 numbers on a close price. And then somebody mentioned on the other time frame, you can screen on any other time frame also. Let's say 15 was the number somebody mentioned. So when you look at this, so okay, there is no stock on 15, which is in oversold range. Let's see in overbought range if it is there any stock on the 15. So you'll find there are quite a few stocks, about 19 stocks out of 500, which are in overbought range on 15-minute tick, right? So when you look at these stocks on a 15-minute tick, you'll see that on 15-minute tick, these are in the overbought territory. Okay. So these are very simple screeners, right, and a very simple strategy, right, of screening stocks which are in either above 70 or below 30 level, right. Now the next one which we'll be doing is the RSI reversal strategy. Now this strategy is a lot more powerful than the previous one, right, because as we discussed on the other day, right, the price moves in trend, and generally they tend to move in trend for a pretty long time till there's a reversal, right. So if you look at a stock which is just at this level, right? For example, if it is just at maybe there will be another example. Let me see if on a daily chart, if we see something interesting, right? If you see the stock that we are looking at is ACC. If you see, this particular stock was in overbought range for a very long period of time, right? It was in overbought for at least 10 to 12 days before it decided to come back into the regular level, right? Once it came down below this level, right? This is interesting and very important, right? Once it came down to below this level, right? That's where the signal is triggered, and you see a very good price movement down here, right? Similarly, if we see on a longer time frame, right? So this is the level where it was in oversold territory, and it has crossed to above 30, right? Above 30. This is where the signal is generated, or the basically the RSI signal is generated. If you buy at this level, then if you see there's quite a good movement out here, right? There's quite a good movement out here. So rather than purely depending on overbought or oversold level, depending on the primary trend, right? Depending on the primary trend, if we see here, right, primary trend is very strong. So if you just take a decision of shorting this particular stock at this level, right, you perhaps would have lost a lot of money out here, right? And shorting is generally on more on the derivatives, which will even wipe out higher capital for you, right? So the better thing is not just to rely on these two numbers, but wait for the signal to come down, right? Let's see another stock, Adani Ports out here. If you see here, this was the level where it actually reversed, right? This was the level where it actually came down from this level. So this is the point where you should be selling, and this is the point where you should be buying, right? So RSI on its own, right, can give you very powerful signal if you purely don't depend on the absolute value, right? The first one is theoretical, above 70, below 30, but a better strategy is to wait for a signal to really give a strong signal, right? In this level, if you had sold at this level, you would have probably lost a lot of money. But if you have sold at this level, then either there's no loss of money or it actually came down, right? Same thing is for the overbought, bullish trend reversal as well as bearish trend reversal. In this case, it is bearish. In this case, it is bullish signal, right? If you guys want to see in a stock of your choice, right, keep mentioning the stocks that you are more interested in. And also try to use a stock which has a decent volume, right? A stock with very low volume may not give very good quality technical signals, but keep mentioning stock of your choice. We'll try to use them as much as we can in this session. Okay. So I hope that the reversal strategies is clear. And if anybody has a question, then do mention on that. Otherwise, we'll proceed on the other strategies. RSI SMA, can you plot? Yes, you can plot RSI SMA. So let me give you a simple example. So this is RSI. When you go out here, right, over here you have an option. So RSI 14 on 70-30, it's on close price. You can change to anything. Generally, a lot of analysts also use high plus low by 2, right? So close being the standard one, you choose SMA of your choice. Maybe SMA here. What period are you looking at? Let me take a very standard SMA, which a lot of institutions use. So this is how you can plot RSI along with this chart, right? Showing this on Bajaj Finance. Right, so you'll see that both your things, right? Your stock is there as well as the RSI is plotted out here, right? So let's expand a bit more on the Bajaj Finance, right? Maybe I'll expand it a little bit more to see where the Bajaj Finance. So Bajaj Finance is, if you see a longer term chart, right? So this is where the Bajaj Finance was in extreme overbought zone, right? Extreme overbought zone. If you had shorted at this point of time, yeah, this thing would have your entire capital would have got wiped out. What you should be looking at is basically this is a better signal where you should be looking to exit, right? And perhaps that was a good signal, right? So because if you were to short, then this was a better point compared to this point. If you have sold at this point of time, you would have lost a lot of profit out here, right? So this is a better one. Okay. 14 MA, yeah, you can draw any MA, Sharon. So 14, or basically you can draw any MA, and you can also screen on any MA also, right? We'll see that in a short while. Okay. So these are reversal strategies on RSI. You can use 30-70, or you can use other numbers also, right? So if you want to use other numbers, go DIY, right? Go to DIY screener, do it yourself. If you guys are not familiar with some of the acronyms that we use, over here, if it is cross above, let's say you want to looking at 20, right? And even if you want to add one more criteria on RSI, for example, it is trending up for at least 2 days, so that it's crossing and it's not like a whipsaw or it's not like a false signal. So you can add these two conditions here. So then you will see that any stock which is crossing above 20 line, right, on RSI, crossing above 20 is what you'll be getting there, right? So it's crossing above 20 as well as at least rising for 2 consecutive days, the 2 conditions that we set here, right? One is exact RSI value and second is the trending value. Okay, great. Okay, so this was the second strategy, very powerful strategy. Trust me, guys, this is something that you may really want to use it for your personal analysis purpose, right? The third one, we have briefly looked at it, is trending strategy, right? Now, if you are looking at RSI which is trending for, let's say, 5 days, right? RSI trending for at least 5 ticks. So let's go reset it so that we go into with clean slate. Trending indicator, RSI trending up for 5 days minimum, right? That means RSI value is daily increasing, right? So that should give you better confidence. And if the RSI value is maybe you want to add another one where it has crossed above, let's say 50, right? So RSI is coming from a lower level, crossing above the central line, right? So that gives you a bullish signal, right? So okay, no stocks. Okay, let's change it to 4 days. Okay, let's say go into trending down and cross below 50 to find the cross below 50 and trending down for, let's say, 5 days, right? Let's see if we get anything, right? So the more stricter criteria that you make, right, the lesser number of stocks would appear, and that is actually a very good thing.
Last week market is bad, right? Maybe you may want to use 2 ticks, yeah.
Yeah, 2 ticks, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe cross below, maybe let's see 40, right? If we see anything, right? So we get 2 stocks, right? Wherein RSI is below 40, and it is coming down, right? So if you are looking for something like moving out, right? So RSI is below 40, number one. RSI is below 40, right? And it is coming down. So that's a bearish signal. So this is how you can not only depend on these two numbers, 70 and 30, you can look at other numbers to gauge. Here the RSI was rising above 50, right? So this was a better point of entering the stock, right? It was trending as well as going above 50, right? So this was a better number. So the idea is just don't restrict yourself with two numbers, 30 and 70. There are a lot many more things in relative strength index which you can benefit out of, right? One of them, as we have seen, right, reversal signals. Number two is trending, right? How the RSI is trending on its own. Difference between RSI and stochastic RSI, right? See, not sure if you understand stochastic model. If you understand it, it will become easy. But purely for very simple explanation, right? Stochastic, if you see stochastic indicator, right, it generally uses price, right? Here we apply stochastic on RSI. What means is you calculate entire RSI and then you apply stochastic on top of it, right? So you remember there is basically in the RSI formula that we saw a little bit back. One is the calculation of RS. You calculate the entire RSI and then you apply stochastic on top of it. Once you do that, then it becomes stochastic RSI. Okay. Then again in stochastic RSI, you have stochastic RSI and then you have a moving average of stochastic RSI, wherein it is a derivative of derivative, right? It's a second to third level of derivative. Let's see something of that sort in a chart, right? So let's remove this thing, or maybe we'll plot RSI and stochastic RSI together, right, to give you an idea. And then I'll also show you stochastic indicator, right? So this is purely purely RSI, right? Now what we do here is basically we plot or we do stochastic modeling on RSI itself, right? That's how you see different signals out here, right? Now if you see, if we add let's say stochastic oscillator also, in all the three cases I have added the faster one, right, or more responsive one. Equivalent of that is a smoother one, like slow stochastic, stochastic RSI slow and RSI smooth. All the three are a smoother one, right? So if you see the movement of stochastic, as the name itself suggests, stochastic is extremely volatile. It's an extreme volatile indicator, right? So that's why you see the movement will be much faster, much slower, right? So what you do is, apart from the stochastic indicator, you plot a 3 or 5 day moving average, right? So the standard is 3 day moving average. So 3 day moving average gives you smoothness, right? So that was a little bit more on the mathematics side. I don't think you guys at this point of time would be much interested in mathematics, but consider this as a derivative of derivative, right? Is a different mathematical formula applied on top of an indicator. Yeah, somebody wanted to say something. Was it Pawan? You want to say something? Yeah. We'll come to that in a short while. Maybe just hold your question for maybe 3 to 4 more minutes. Perhaps we'll be going there in the next section. Right? So that is RSI trending strategy, right? The next one, here it comes up, right? RSI divergence strategy. Now, basically, if you see, right, if you see the chart, I'll just clean it a bit, right? So that we don't have to see too many things and we see this thing, right? So if you see the movement of RSI, right? RSI giving signal here, whereas the movement has already happened. So RSI on its own, right? Of course, it's debatable, but I have a very strong case that RSI is a lagging indicator, right? RSI will tell when things happen. So a lot of times the movement would have already happened before you get into that, right? So depending on your aggressiveness, you can either use RSI or if you want a more conservative, you use RSI smooth, or you can go to stochastic indicator, right? As we discussed before. Now, all these indicators that I've mentioned happens after the fact, right? After the price has moved, then only it'll go. So if you see here, the RSI is 14, right? That means it looks for at least 14 periods in the history to calculate a value. Of course, somebody mentioned a smaller number, right? Yes, you can do that. And a lot of that's also a good trading strategy, which we'll discuss in a short while. Right. So basically, all these indicators are a lagging indicators. That means it tells after the price movement has already happened, right? Because it goes back in the history to look at things. There's one interesting indicator, a derivative of RSI, which is called divergence, right? Divergence is a leading indicator which will give you a hint, that where the price is likely to move in coming days, right? So RSI bullish, they are basically 10 type of divergence, but for the simplicity of this discussion, we'll consider one bullish and one bearish, which is most common and which gives the best quality of results. Okay, so RSI bullish and RSI bearish divergence, right? So what is divergence? Remember, we have a price charts and then we have a indicator chart, right? Both are plotted one below another one, right? So there's no way, unlike a moving average like this one, right? Or Bollinger Band like this, right? You cannot plot RSI along with the price because this has a range of 0 to 100, whereas the price has a range from 1 rupee to maybe any number that it can go, right? The most expensive stock that I've seen so far was more than $100,000 stock, one single stock, right? Owned by the CEO of the organization is Warren Buffett, right? So I know those people can go and look at crazy things, but generally it is plotted below for a reason, because they have a very different meaning, right? Now there can be a correlation between price and the indicator. Now what happens is, if the price is making lower high, right, lower high continuously, and the indicator is making higher low, right? Price is making lower high, lower low, and indicator is making higher low. Okay, in that case it is called as a divergence, right? Now divergence is one of the very few leading indicators, which will tell that, okay, if a divergence has happened, the price is likely to move. If it is a bullish divergence, price is likely to move upwards, right? So very commonly used, not easy to spot, not very easy to spot, because it requires a lot of time and attention to get there, to find these divergence, right? So divergence typically look like this. Okay, similarly, bearish divergence, where the price is making higher highs and indicator is making lower highs, right? So you clearly see, right, the direction of price and the indicator is reverse. That is why it is called divergence, right? It is diverging from the core price, right? The indicator movement is diverging from the core price, right? So if there is a bullish divergence, then what you should be looking to get into the stock. If it is bearish divergence, then you should be looking to exit the stock. Okay. Now, how TopStockResearch comes and helps you with this? So this is a typical example of divergence. Here the price is making lower lows, right? Whereas the indicator is making higher lows, right? So you can clearly see divergence over here, right? So as I mentioned, right, the indicator has given signal far before the price actually moved, right? So if traded properly, or if spotted properly, then this would be a good one, right? A good basically a good tool in your arsenal. Okay. So this being the bullish divergence. Similarly, we have a bearish divergence, right, where the price is moving upward. The signal is going in the other direction. What it means that this thing is giving a signal that the price is likely to go down, and the price has indeed gone down. Okay, so this is very important signal. Now, how TopStockResearch comes into picture? How TopStockResearch can help you? We have divergence screener, right? If you look at the bullish divergence over here on let's say on a daily time frame. So these are few stocks which have formed bullish divergence, right? Let's see how those divergences are formed, right? Also what it tells you is the period at which these divergence points are there, right? So it is from roughly around 14th of October, or 3rd of October is the price, up to 23rd December, and this is where this thing indicator price are also from the same range, right? October first week to December current period, right? So if you see the divergence, right? So the price is low here, and there's a higher low out here, whereas the price is making low, and the second low is even lower, right? So this is where the divergence is. Along with the divergence, if you see that the second signal that we discussed was crossing above the signal line, right? So that is second confirmation. The third good confirmation out here is there's a volume participation also, right? So this could be a good thing for if you are trading purely with the divergence, right? The second one, again, if you see, it is coming down, whereas the RSI is going upwards, right? So these are the very simplistic divergence that we have, bullish divergence as well as bearish divergence. Okay. Now in DIY screener, you have a little bit more of sophistication. What you can do is, there are multiple different kind of divergence. Going into all the divergence would be slightly beyond the scope of this session. You have bullish, mild bullish, weak bullish, bullish hidden, and potential bullish, right? If you want to have a little bit of commentary, there's a very simple explanation of it. So basically, the divergence that we were talking about is price is falling, indicator is rising, right? Similarly, the other directions are here. Unlike a lot of other screeners, what you can do is you can screen multiple different kind of divergence in one single screener, right? So when you do this divergence, right, you'll find that either it is bullish or mild bullish, right? It tells you this, and it also tells you the price points and the indicator points out here, right? So that was about the divergence. The next strategy, what you can do is, somebody mentioned, right, the moving average on RSI itself, right? So like the price and moving average crossover, right? What moving average does is, in case of a choppy market, right, moving average helps you to smoothen the path. Similarly, what you can draw is, basically you can draw moving average on top of RSI value itself along with the RSI, right? So that's what is called RSI MA, right? So let's see bullish crossover here and a bearish crossover, right? So the example that we are seeing here is, this is RSI, and RSI moving average is plotted along with that, right? So when in a choppy market, you'll see a lot of crisscross, right? So those are certain times where either you should avoid, or if you cannot avoid, try using a strict stop loss. So there'll be quite a few stop losses which will come, but once it crosses, right, after a choppy market, when RSI really crosses and there are certain good trends, right, then this gives you a very good bullish signal. And similarly, in a trending market, when RSI goes below the moving average in a proper trending market, right, it will give you a proper bearish signal and a bullish signal, right, on RSI MA, right? So this is another strategy a lot of analysts follows. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll take a quick example of that RSI moving average. So if what we have seen is in the chart, right? Let's look at how to filter stocks where the RSI and its moving average have crossed. Right? So RSI bullish moving average crossover. I'm looking at 20 MA, right? 20 MA. Somebody mentioned 14, right? So let's use 14 and 14 in this thing. It's a bullish crossover. So when you screen these stocks, you'll find all these stocks where the RSI has crossed above its RSI 14 moving average. So this is 34, this is 36. When you look at the chart, you see that the RSI has crossed above its moving average, right? RSI is crossing above the moving average. So that's how you can filter these RSI along with its moving average using DIY screener. Okay. The next one is swing rejection. Again, very powerful one. Among all these things, right, this is again which is likely to give you very good returns: RSI swing rejection and double top RSI or double bottom, right? So what is swing rejection? Swing rejection is when RSI is falling and it has gone into oversold territory. And then it has gone up. Then it's again trying to get into oversold territory, but just above that, it has moved again upwards. Right? So it has moved again upwards. So once this line is crossed, right? It's a very powerful signal. That means the bears have lost control and bulls are now taking charge of this. Right? So this is called bullish swing rejection. Similarly, the opposite of this is bearish swing rejection, right? Where it is in oversold territory, came down, Again, it tried to go into overbought territory. It tried to go into overbought territory, couldn't go, and coming down. So now this is again a very good signal, right? So this is swing rejection. Okay, an example of a swing rejection which your team has brought up. Now it has gone into oversold territory, tried to go up, again trying coming down, just at that level, right? Just at the oversold level, it has again retraced. Now this is a good level to enter the stock. Now if you see, this becomes in a way slight variation of double bottom. Of course it's slightly different. You'll also see a double bottom kind of a pattern on the chart itself, right? So both these things happen, generally happen together, right? The movement of the indicator as well as on the price, right? Either it happens at the same time or it may happen almost near each other, right? So this is swing rejection. Taking an entry here can give you good results. So another example that we have of swing rejection, where this is bearish. So it was in overbought territory, came down. Again, a bears tried to take it up, couldn't take it up. Once it came down, the market actually came down, right? So this is bearish swing rejection, a very powerful strategy, right? Quite a powerful strategy. This is.
Sir, how to find this swing rejection in top stock research, sir?
Sure, I'll take you there. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Now the question was on swing rejection, right? So again, what you need to do is go to swing rejection, bullish swing rejection. We are doing at 30 level, right? Run this. Okay, so there are 3 stocks which have come, right? These being extremely complex, right? These being extremely complex. So you'll see that in the real world, it will not be that great, right? So it was in oversold territory, right? It tried to go up, reached almost the center line, and then it came down, and then it's trying to go up again, right? So this is a swing rejection where you can. So if you see in this particular case, it was not a double bottom here, but there's sort of a double bottom down here, and you'll see that there's a strong moment out here, right? So this is a very powerful strategy. The number 2 is, again, this is a swing rejection. So it has gone into the oversold territory, tried to go up, couldn't go up, tried to come back again to the 30 line, and then from that level it's retracing up, right? So if you see here, there's a variation, a very loose variation of double bottom, and you'll see much better quality double bottom out here, right? So generally they go hand in hand, but not necessarily. You can use swing rejection as an absolute this thing also, right? Bajaj Finance, again the same thing. From below level, it has gone up, again tried to go down, retracing back, right? So you'll see some sort of a variation or some sort of a relation between the price double bottom and this thing, right? A powerful strategy, right? Quite powerful strategy, right? So this one is much more classic double bottom, right? Double bottom out here, as well as there's a similar double bottom kind of a thing over here, right? Retracing at this thing. So again, a good powerful strategy. Likewise, what we have is bullish swing rejection. Same way we have bearish swing rejection. So it's just opposite of what we have seen or discussed. Okay, there's none.
Sir, in bearish swing rejection, what is the number what we have to write, sir? In bullish, you wrote 30.
Yeah.
In bearish,
don't have to. It'll come default as 70, right? So remember the initial slides that I mentioned, or maybe I'll show you in chart, right? That right here. If I say that bullish swing rejection, I go here, right? If you plot the chart here, right? If you plot the chart, if you don't know those values, right? You go click here, go to factory settings. It'll tell you that 70 and 30 are the levels, and the default period is 14, and it is on close price. Right, these are the standard levels. So if it is bearish, right, then obviously if it is overbought, that's the level where it comes down. Right, if it is bullish, then it is extreme oversold level, and then it's coming up, and it is doing multiple times. Right, it has come up again. There's a race of bull and bear, what we discussed in the other session. Right, in that race, eventually the bulls are likely to win. Right, so basically, if you remember double top pattern, what we discussed yesterday, it is sort of an equivalent of that on a indicator. Right. Now, guys, I'll have a small caution on these things. Right, All these are, if you see, these are derivative of derivatives, right? First of all, the indicator itself is derivative, there's another derivative, right? So it adds to a lot of complications. So don't take anything in absolute. Use lot of back testing, as we discussed the other time. Like over there, it is falling from oversold level. It has actually gone there, right? If you look at any chart, right, you will see that there'll be good signals, there'll be false signals. Good signals can give you a lot of money. False signals will hit your stop loss. So your loss, limit your loss, and ride the wave, right? As the name of our campaign is, ride the wave, right? So you'll see all those things. So don't take anything in absolute terms. Try doing some sort of back testing. Remember, guys, we have these back testing. You can go back in the history of any day to see where the swing rejection has happened. Like 15 days back, if you want to see swing rejection, it happened at CE Info on 6th December. Go look at the chart on 6th December. What happened, right? On 6th December, right? So this is how you can validate. This is how you can validate. 6th December is here, right? So it was a bad case, right? It was not too good a case. 6th is here, right? So there was a small movement, but not too good a moment, right? So you validate all your theories again and again. Not everything will give you 100% results. The idea is very plain and simple. When you make profit, you have to make a long profit. When you make a loss, it should be a stop loss. So loss should be limited. You ride on the profit. Okay. So do some sort of back testing also. That will help you to validate a lot of your concepts and criteria. Okay. So the next one we were discussing, right, was on multiple time frames. Somebody mentioned that they want to look at different time frames, right? 5-15 minutes. Somebody mentioned. Sorry, I'm not very good at remembering all the things because so many things are happening. But I'll give you I'll tell you how to do this thing on DIY screener, right? In DIY screener, again, closing this one, on RSI, my current tick, this tells you that this is screener tick, right? So screener tick is the same as this tick. So on daily chart, it is above 60, and then add another RSI. On a weekly chart, it is again above 60, and on a monthly chart, right, or anything that you can put, right, on a monthly chart. I'm just putting it. Not sure I'll find anything in this market, but let's try it, right? So what it tells you is multiple things, right? Number one is it tells you that it is above 60. If you don't put this thing optional field, then it will just tell you that it is above 60. So let's run this screen now, right? So CCL products, RSI is above 67 on daily, on weekly it is 63, and on monthly it is 71, right? So this is how you can use cross-tick RSIs on any period, right? On any period, right? So on daily chart, it is like this. Change it to weekly or monthly, right? You'll find all those values. So why do you use multiple time frames, right? Because let's say you are looking at RSI crossing above 60. So I'll pause these two for now. Let's say you are looking at RSI crossing above 60, right? Now this is a signal, right? This is a signal, RSI crossing above 60. But at the same time, you want to see that where does it stand when it comes to weekly and monthly, right? So this being your primary, these other two are more of supportive, right? So let's enable these two, right? Run it. So you'll see that CCL product has crossed above 60, right? It has crossed above 60, and on the other two time frames, weekly and monthly, it is already there, right? So that's how you can make use of it. So another thing that perhaps I have missed in this one, right? So if you want to know that it is let's say cross above 60 in the latest tick, or maybe cross above 30 is a better number, right? Cross above 30 on the latest tick, right? That's where the bullish signal gets generated, right? So you'll get all the stocks which have just crossed above 30 level, right, over here, right? But if you want to see that, if you have a strategy wherein you say that, you know, it has crossed above 30 in my previous tick, so just put one here. So it'll take you. So even your entire testing is on the latest data, right? Only RSI cross above here goes into the previous tick, right? So when you run this, right? So RSI is crossed above 30 on the previous tick, right? So this is how you can mix and match your strategy to see that if you have a strategy, or if you read a book, or if some of the analysts tells you that this is a good strategy where RSI has crossed above in the previous tick and today MACD crossover, or today moving average crossover, or candlestick pattern, right? So that's how you can mix and match. If you keep this as an absolute, right, then perhaps you'll not get any results because the crossover has happened yesterday. Or there's another example, another option where it has crossed above range, right? So it has crossed above 30 in last 3 ticks. So number of results that we got here was 11, right? 111 rather, right? So now we say that if it has crossed in the last 3 ticks, RSI, right? That all filter also you can do, right? Quite a few number of stocks which has crossed above 30 in last 3 ticks, either today or yesterday or day before. Okay, so this is how you can utilize the screener for multiple different dimensions. One is the cross of these things. Number 2 is basically you can go with the absolute number, like above, below. Let's say you're looking at above 70 for minimum 5 ticks, right? In the pre-screen, we have limit of 3, right? Or a preset as 3, which is considered to be generally good. But if you're looking at a stock which is above 70 for, let's say, 5 days, right? Let's see if we get any. Yeah, so Hitachi. Hitachi is the stock which says that it is above 70 for last many days, right? Last many days. So that level of flexibility, the DIY screener does it. So once you understand RSI, right, there's much better way where you can really optimize your RSI settings, right? So even though there is a 14, so the standard settings that we discussed, right, is like 14 on close, 70 and 30, right? All those things are there. But different stocks, different market, different industry behave in different way, right? Some are more volatile, some are more trending, some are more defensive, right? FMCG will not move that much generally, right? But some of the stocks, especially the mid cap, small cap, will move much faster, respond much faster to the price, to the market news, right? So accordingly, feel free to set any of these things, right? So there are lots and lots of different options. If you need any help, definitely we can come and give you support, right? On and to make you understand on any of the terms, right? What is the meaning of tick? Suppose if we select 9, that is stock showing in between 0 to 9 period. Over here, okay, so let me close this, right, to make it a little more clear, right? So what do we mean by tick? The tick here is the screener tick, which is same as the tick, which is the primary tick of this. Now, what we do here is basically this is the primary tick that you are interested in. But on top of it, if you want to have a secondary tick, right, then you can go to any other tick out here, right? Any other tick. Now, if you say that you are using a weekly tick here, and then the tick here weekly, one means the previous tick. Previous tick means previous week, right? If it is 5 minutes, then the previous 5 minutes candle, right? Consider tick as candle. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, right. So I hope there's no question on this one, right? Any more question?
नहीं सर, और वो जो बिलो वाला टिक है वो क्या है फिर?
आप देखो, 2 चीज करते हो, राइट? आप या तो खरीदते हो या बेचते हो, राइट? बिलो का मतलब ये होता है कि उस प्राइस से बिलो है।
नहीं सर, वो नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ। वो नीचे और एक टिक है ना, नीचे जहाँ पे रन स्क्रीनर है वहाँ पे।
ये वाला
हाँ, यस।
हाँ, ये वाला बैक टेस्टिंग के लिए है, राइट? बैक टेस्टिंग का क्या मतलब हुआ? सपोज टाइम मशीन, एक्चुअली दिस इज नॉट रियली बैक टेस्टिंग, दिस इज टाइम मशीन, right? You go back in time to see how it was at that point of time. So if you are looking at 70, above 70 for, let's say, 3 days, right? Let's say for 3 days, not today, 10 days back, to see how it, I mean, if you have a strategy, right? Somebody tells you or you read about the strategy that this is a good thing. If it is above 70 for 3 days, then it's a good thing, right? So go and look at it. So P minus 10 would be 10 days from now, right? So what it will tell you is, this will give you result as of 13th of December. So what 13th of December is, we'll see. So 13th of December, we expand this one. right? On 13th of December, it was in this territory for at least 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so this is time machine, right? This is time machine. Now time machine is so we'll have time machine, we'll have a full-fledged backtesting and a backtesting light. So when we really introduce and implement them, right, we'll definitely share those set of information with you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Please try to reserve 15 minutes to illustrate backtesting of one of the sessions. Yes, sir. We'll definitely try to do if it's possible, right? Backtesting. Okay, so that tells you a little bit more about the product, right? So what we were looking for is somebody had a curiosity of going into multiple ticks. 5, 10, 15 is what I think you mentioned. I've just taken a daily, weekly, monthly. You can use any tick of your choice. Okay. Any questions on this so far before we move to the next one? I mentioned that in the chat session, right? I'll try to answer if I can. All right, so now if you look at the double top, right? So in this particular case, right, RSI has made double top. It is pretty similar to swing rejection. Swing rejection is little bit more on basically the 2 points, right? Apart from this particular line, right? Apart from overbought or oversold line. Whereas the double top is on the extreme level. Either it is above this or below this. Right? It is either above this or below this. Once the double top happens, right, typically you will see a similar double top on the price, right, at the same time or maybe a little bit ahead or behind, because as we have now learned, right, RSI is a derivative of price, right, so it has to move slower than price. Price comes first, and then anything which is dependent on price will get reflected. Okay, so you'll see double top. There'll be a lot of double tops also. Now if you understand double top, right, you will be able to spot a lot of double top patterns, right? Let me see at random. Anybody wants to put a stock of your choice to see if I can find a double top on that particular stock? Just type the stock of your choice. All right. So I see very similar names what we saw the other day, right? Let's look at the first one, Coforge. Coforge. If we see double top, right? See, this is double top, right? Which is similar to double top which was formed out here, or this could be another double top, right? After a double top formed, right, the market came down. Over here also there's a sort of a double top, and then market actually came down. So you'll find a lot of, I mean, once you understand these things, right, there'll be a lot of double top, double bottom patterns you will see in the actual market, and that's where you'll be able to spot them much easily, right? A powerful ones, right? Double top. It has to be real double top, right? Now this is not double top, it's like staying there for a very long period of time, right? This one was a double top. It did give a small move, but not too good, right? Triple top is bad for this indicators, right? At most double top, only 2 patterns, either trend line, which we have seen in divergence, or double top. These are 2 patterns at least which I know. There could be other patterns, maybe some analysts may publish their research, then when we have that, we'll try to get it in TopStockResearch also. So that's what we discussed about double top and double bottom pattern, right? Again, quite useful pattern, right? Just observe them, use them. So as I said, right, you use them, add along with some of the other complementary indicator to get secondary confirmation, or it could be basically the previous support trend line or any other indicator, right? Crossover that will give you a better confidence of the indicator that you are using. Okay, so that was double top, double bottom, right? Now a very interesting thing, right? If you look at a trending stock, right? Let's say uptrending stocks, right? The stock is continuously going up. There's retracement, but very small retracement. You will never hit a oversold territory, right? You will never hit a oversold territory, right? So should you dump RSI on that? The answer is no, right? If it is a trending and a strong uptrending market, right, what you need to do is you need to adjust the overbought and oversold level, right? You need to adjust the overbought and oversold level. If it is strong trending up, right, you can still take advantage of RSI overbought oversold condition, provided you change these levels. right? Now this will happen when you are on a particular stock, right? When you are on a particular stock, then you can change these levels. Otherwise, if the entire market is uptrending, then you can have at a screener level, right? You see, you remember we saw those things. How do you mark these things as rising above, let's say, crossing above 30 level, right? So instead of 30, change it to 40 level, right? If it is uptrend market, or if it is downtrend market, rather than cross below, rather than cross above would be cross above would be 40, right? Rather than 30, you'll use 40 as that number, right? In a proper trending market. So let's see on that latest tick, what do we get? So you'll see quite a few records, right? Not everybody would be uptrending, right? So if you are using for these kind of stocks, you'll perhaps get very, very bad quality results. But if in a proper uptrend market, right, you'll see better results. So the idea or the point which I'm trying to tell you here is, don't stick with the theoretical concepts, right? With 30-70, yeah, that is a good starting point, right? And you can make money out of it on 30-70 also, because it's time proven, time tested, used by a lot of analysts, both retail as well as basically hedge funds, right? So RSI is used by lot of hedge funds also. So hedge funds are those guys who do basically the number of hedge funds are, I mean, I'm talking about global, right? I don't know how many of them are in India, but when I was with JP Morgan, right? So we had about less than 1% hedge fund in the US market, and the amount of trade they used to do was about 90%, right? So they used to rely a lot on RSI, right? RSI was one of the, I've got a little bit of a chance to talking to them, right? So they use RSI a lot, right? So the way they do RSI is basically slightly different, right? They tweak it. So feel free to change RSI if it is trending up. Increase the level of overbought, oversold, depending on which market it is in, right? If you want to do a particular stock analysis, go and change in the chart. If you want to do in the market, do that. So if you have a list of trending stocks, right? If that is in your watch list, let's say I'm just taking a watch list at a random, right? So let's say these many watch lists are there, right? I generally create watch list for one of the demos, right? So let's say I find all the stocks which I have created for uptrending stocks, right? So what you can do is you can filter on your watch list also. So let's say we are filtering on a watch list, right? A random watch list. Of course, this will not make sense because we have not created a watch list of our trending up stocks, right? But if you do that, then you will get the stocks of that. Maybe we try it out here, right? To see all the trending stocks. Let's go into chart patterns. Stock, higher high, higher lows. Higher high, higher lows on a long term. Okay, we get 39 stocks, right? So all these stocks will be trending high, right? Yeah. Right, all these stocks are trending high, right? So now let's look at RSI on these, right? So there's very less chance that these will be hitting the lower level if it is a proper this thing, right? So over here there was a downturn, but let's look at another stock. Because the market condition is little bad, let's look at the other way around, right? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low on a long term. You'll see a lot more stocks, right? And the quality of this thing will be better. So you'll not find too many stocks. So ever since the lower trend is started, right? You'll not find any stock crossing this line, right? So why do we miss opportunity? Why do we miss opportunity, right? This nice downtrending stocks, really, this was in fact better one, right? It was trending down much better, right? So you'll not hit this level, right? So what you need to do is you need to change the level. You need to change the level. So instead of 70, you can change it to 60. Then you'll see quite a few stocks hitting those lines, right? And then you can use RSI for your trading purpose, right? It hit here, right? Came down. It hit here, came down, right? So this is how you can, or you can try to fine tune your this thing RSI settings. Okay, right? How do you do that in so you create a watch list, right? So where I was there is we add all the stock to a watch list. We'll say demo 27th December, right? And now let's try to go in DIY screener, right? So this is lower high, lower low, right? So now go to DIY screener, go to technical indicators, RSI, right? Falling below, crossing below. Instead of 70, let's put 70 first. Let's see how many stocks we get, right? Now, what we are looking to do is screening stocks on a watch list, right? So, okay. We are doing is screening stock on a watch list. Yeah, 27th, right? And then what we are doing is we are looking at technical screener, right? Crossing below, let's say 70, right? You'll not find too many stocks, right? None, right? If you take it to 60, right? Perhaps you'll get some. No? Okay. So 60 in 60 cross below, range cross below, right? So let's put it, it has crossed below 60 in last 2-3 days. Let's say 3 days. Right? That's how you can fine tune your screeners, right? You find few stocks which has crossed below 60 in last few days. Right? So we change this to 60. Right? So if you see it has crossed below 60, right? Go to the next stock, cross below 60 over here, and the same way you can look at the other stocks, right? So so basically where you get frustrated or you lose patience is where you have a very, very theoretical this thing. Tools like this will help you to, break those things and fine tune this thing. Once you do a little bit of back testing, again, a powerful this thing strategy, right? Very, very powerful strategy. So fine tune it to your requirement, then you'll get good quality results. All right. So the next one is RSI with other indicators. We have been discussing, right, since yesterday that try combining things. What RSI goes good for this strategy is with bullish MACD crossover and EMA 5 above 15, right? So you have three very good quality signals. If all the three matches, it gives you a better quality results, right? Now, in order to get these kind of stocks, you'll not always get it. So you have to be extremely patient, set an alert, then you'll get there. Right? Now, somebody mentioned about setting an alert. So setting an alert, let's say RSI crossing below 60, maybe on the latest tick. So I'll remove that, right? So you have this strategy. You have two ways of doing it. You add an alert, right? You can add alert from saved screener. Like these are certain saved screeners which I created for one or the other demos, right? You can use one of these things, or you can use from the current selection. So the current selection is whatever the selection you have made, right? And then you want it once or you want repeat till disabled. So if you want once, you'll get that. You want web alert, email alert or SMS alert, you'll get that. So web alert is what will be popped on if you are on a desktop or a laptop, right? So as soon as this alert is hit, when the conditions are met, you'll get an alert, right? You can have SMS and email alerts. Okay, so that was about alert. RSI, other indicators we have seen, right? RSI for day trading, right? Okay, so if you, remember guys, the standard period of RSI is 14, right? Now 14 is like it uses last 14 days value, right? That means it does consider a lot of things. For a quicker movement, you may want to use 7, especially for intraday, right? Use RSI 7 if you really want a quicker reaction, right? If you want to look for a longer period, you may also want to look at 21. 21 is again a very good number, right? So if you increase the period, you'll get lesser signals, right? And that is actually the objective of a positional or a swing trader, right? Of a slightly longer duration. Now, swing trader is generally used quite loosely, right? Somebody says 1 to 3 days, 5 days, but it can last up to quite a few weeks, maybe up to a couple of months or 3 months, right? So swing trading range is much longer. It is actually trading on a swing, right? The tick period can be anything. It can be daily, weekly, monthly, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right? It can be anything. So typically, if you are looking at a longer duration trade, right, lesser trade, quality trade, then you have to look at RSI of a longer interval, larger interval. If you're looking at a shorter period like a day trader, 7 may be a good number. Okay, so you can do that.
Okay, Nagaraju, we have a question. RSI above 30, MACD crossover on which, if EMA 5 crossover? Sorry, I couldn't get that question.
Hello.
Yeah, right.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Sir, last time you said for taking a trade, EMI should this RSI above 30 and MACD crossover on
Yeah,
15 minutes time frame or which time frame?
any time frame, right?
Any
So
time frame.
this particular strategy is best suited for EOD, right? Or on daily time frame, right? Is best
And
suited for daily.
DMO 5 minute should cross over 15 minutes, right?
No, 5 EMA cross 15 EMA, right? 5 EMA on daily tick should cross 15 EMA of daily tick, right? How
Daily
do
tick.
you? Yeah,
MACD also daily tick, right?
daily tick. Everything is daily over there, right?
So remember yesterday we discussed how do you add a crossover of two moving average, right? So put 5 here and 15 here and 15, and then you'll get all the screeners of 5 and 15, right? Okay. Okay, so we were on a very small stock basket, right? So the demo stocks that we selected, that's why you couldn't get there. Let's look at FNO stocks, right? So these are two stocks where 5 is crossing over 15, right? This is the crossover. Okay, so that's RSI for swing trading. We have briefly covered, right? RSI settings for market trend. If it is uptrend, then perhaps you should be changing it to a higher limit like 80. If it for overbought level, because the stock will continuously to be an overbought level for a longer period of time, right? So you will not get any signal for using RSI over there, right? So basically there are certain stocks, right, where you should be buying on dips. You'll miss those opportunities if you are too strict on 70 and 30. So this is again a very simple tabular information of how or what kind of value should you be looking for uptrending and downtrending market. Okay, so the next one, RSI in uptrend market, right? So what we have done is we have changed these limits. Like this is a typical uptrend market, right? So we have increased the limit to 80, right? That's where you'll get some opportunities to get in, right? So for on any dip, right, you'll get some opportunity to buy and then move on, right? So you use these things, right? You use these things. This will be an opportunity, or this will be an opportunity for you to enter. This will be another opportunity for you to enter, right? Another opportunity to enter here. You increase it to 40 instead of standard 30. Okay. Same thing, downtrend. You alter it, right? On a sideways market, it will neither touch 70 nor 30, right? So you can change it to 60-40, right? So that is the RSI level. So there is always a trade, right? Whichever the market is, uptrend, downtrend, or sideways, right? There's a trade which can be made, right? So change things to different levels. Instead of rigid 30-40, 30-70, change it to 40-60, 80-20, or a number that is rightly suited for that, right? So some of these numbers, popular numbers, we have highlighted out here. Okay. So we have seen, right, RSI changing periods or changing the source of calculation multiple time frames at the same time. So this is the place. This is the place where you will see in the DIY screener. If you see, you go to RSI. Okay, we are already in DIY screener, right? Let's reset, and then you go to RSI. There are quite a few settings out here, right? Number one is like when you go into customize indicator, you have a period of 14, right? You can go on any tick. You can have on open, high, low, close, right? Another good one, I don't know why people don't suggest and books don't suggest, is high plus low by 2 is good, right? High plus low by 2 is better than close, right? So that should give, in fact, we should add body range also, right? The open plus close by 2, we'll get that body range also very soon, right? So that that also should give you a more smoother representation rather than just the close price. Okay, so similarly you can use even more smoother is high low close by 3 and OHLC by 4,
right? So these are certain additional settings that you do in the system, apart from all these things, right? Over here also you have settings like above 70 for 5 days, 10 days, right? So you have a lot of different settings which you can use TSR for your research. Okay. Similarly, the settings that we have discussed, same kind of settings is also possible over here, right? So you go to RSI, right? So when you go to the settings, you have those options available here, right? So 14, 70, 30, these things, EMA, SMA, right? Moving average, any moving average that you can choose. For example, maybe like 21. EMA, right? So 21 gets drawn here. So there's a lot of customizability here in TSR, which you can clearly use, right? Do and don'ts, same thing. Do thorough backtesting. Go for a number which really works for you. Not every number will work for all the stocks, right? They are always high beta, low beta stocks, right? High beta stocks will perform different, low beta stocks will perform different, uptrend will perform different, down will, right? Look at the major direction of the stock market, right? If the entire market is in strong upward trends, then unless you are a contrarian and have a heavy level of confidence, stick to the major trend, right? As much as possible. Check volume, check other support and resistance. Some of the things that we discussed yesterday also, right? Is basically that also needs to be considered here, right? I see few questions, few hands. Prasan, you have a question? Or Shabnam? No? Good. So we'll wrap up now. I think I've covered. Anybody has any specific thing that you want to discuss?
Hello.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yes, you said RSI 5 and RSI 7 for day trader. How to just have that setting? I just want to understand that setting.
Sure. Right. So this is okay. I'll start with scratch. Right. Go to my.TopStockResearch. Go to custom screener, DIY screener. This is where you'll be. Select technical indicator.
Okay.
Go to RSI.
Okay.
Right now in RSI, you have anything, right? Let's say crossing above 30 is what we discussed as one of the key strategies right today. And then go to customize option, and over here you change it to 7.
Okay, 7. So for intraday trader, you recommend this 5 or 7?
See, I don't recommend anything for very strongly, right? I say this works well.
Means what in general? Means
yes.
General, it is 7. RSI period is 7.
7 would give you better signal because remember, RSI is 14 means it uses last 14 parameters. If it is 7, it uses last 7 parameters. If it is 5, it uses last 5 parameters, right? So in intraday, what do you look for? Quick moves, right? Because you don't have patience till next day. You enter in the trade, and by end of the day, you have to move out. You have to square off, right? That is the typical rule, and that has to be followed extremely meticulously. If you are a day trader, you cannot say that chalo theek hai, kal kar lete. Right? Don't do that, right? That's the biggest mistake, and everybody loses money, and I've also lost money on that.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Right. So, any other question before we wrap up?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
For intraday purpose, sir, is there any importance of weekly or monthly RSI?
No, not at all. Right? See, weekly will not work. A week is basically how many days, right? 14 into 5, 70 days. Right? A typical 14 weeks will be how many days? 70 days, right? Whereas what you are looking for a 15, 20, 30 minutes period, right? Okay. 70 days versus 30 minutes or 40 minutes, right? Or maybe 15 minutes or maybe maximum 4-5 hours. Right? That's how a typical trade should be.
I means that if on a weekly basis the RSI is more weaker, then we will get the faster result for the selling purpose in intraday.
See, shorter will be more responsive, right? Will be more responsive, more signals. Right?
Okay.
Because it is much more reactive to the current trend, right? It doesn't have to look all the way back to 14 ticks. You know what I mean, right? Purely from logic perspective, right? Purely from logic perspective, you see. So I'll give you an example, very simple example, maybe here itself, right? Maybe here itself. I'll tell you, yesterday I drew the same diagram, right? So some people may find it boring that I don't have much material, but those are important things to look at, right? Let's say I add a 200-day moving average, exponential, and same thing I'm adding a simple moving average of 200 days. Right? You'll see different points. Right? The simple moving average will be far away from price. See?
Right.
Right? Exponential will be closer to the price, right? You add other moving average, perhaps some other moving average will give you better, like a weighted moving average, right? Weighted moving average will give you even closer. Right? Add a wider moving average. So you have to look at things, right? Wider is the one which was created by the creator of RSI, right? So it's pretty dear to me. Right. So that's how you'll get a lot of these things, right? So the point which I'm trying to tell you is, okay. So maybe a better illustration would be is, I think I messed up a bit. Of course, that was one of the things which I wanted to tell you. The second thing is you move a 50 moving average, and then you move a 5 moving average. See which one is closest, which one is most reactive, right? The 5 moving average is extremely close to the price. So what it does is it looks at last 5 price. So if you look at 200-day moving average for a day trading, my best wishes to you, right? So same way, like weekly, monthly, I don't think you should be looking for. But there could be cases, right? There could be cases. There could be. See, these are all research areas, right? Analysis, as we say, right? It's analysis, stock analysis, technical analysis, right? These are all research areas. So you never know what can come out as a surprise to anybody, right? Maybe tomorrow you can create an indicator and publish, right? We'll all try to implement in TopStockResearch.
Sir, when to use a minute-based RSI? Should we use minute-based RSI or not?
Okay, you can you handle that pressure of minute, right?
I don't know, sir. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, see, minute is something which, again, I'll say that, right? It works. There's no doubt. Everything works.
When I say it means 5 minute or 7 minute, 10 minutes, something like that, not 1 minute.
Intraday trade, yes, you should. Intraday trade, yes, you should.
No, but sir, you said for day trading that 7 days RSI or 5 days RSI.
What I meant over there, what I meant was on a daily tick, 7 RSI, right? Rather than. So basically, you can see the shorter the RSI period, right? The more responsive it is.
Yes, that is true. So for day trading, should minute-based RSI should be used or no?
You should. You can look for. See. Basically, what I suggest, right? What I suggest is basically for day trading, right? I mean, if you can handle the pressure of 1 minute, 2 minutes, very good, right? Not everybody can over a period of time, right? 15 minutes is a good period. 15 minutes and 1 hour is a very good period.
Got it.
Yeah. If you can handle below that, I mean, why not? Right? Why not? There'll be more false signals, but you will be the earliest one to catch a good trend because you are catching much faster.
10 minutes and 1 hour, right? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's something which has worked for me, right? So it's not that I'll tell you that you definitely use that. It's something which works. Okay.
But that is to capture small moves, right? Means yes. Scalping.
Smaller moving scalping. Yes. You're right, sir. Any other question or any questions that I couldn't answer because of my oversightedness or?
Yeah, good. Rohit sir.
Ji sir.
Yeah, good evening, Rahul this side.
Yes sir.
सर मैं थोड़ा सा अलग सवाल पूछना चाहूंगा सर मेरा ना वर्किंग जो है ऑफिस बेस्ड है तो मैं दिन में इतना ज्यादा स्टॉक्स को फॉलो कर नहीं पा रहा हूँ हालांकि मैंने आपका प्रो ट्रेडर वाला प्लान भी ले लिया बट मुझे लग रहा है वो मेरे काम का नहीं आ रहा क्योंकि जो कुछ मेरे को करना होता है मैं शाम को आधा पौना 1 घंटा आके मैं रिसर्च कर पाता हूँ अब उस केस में अगर मैं स्विंग ट्रेडिंग या पोजिशनल ट्रेडिंग में जाना चाहूँ तो मुझे आइडियली टाइम फ्रेम क्या रखने चाहिए और किस स्ट्रेटजी में मेरे को काम करना चाहिए ताकि मैं रिजल्ट्स ले पाऊँ मैंने कल गलती से डाल को बेच दिया मैंने देखा आज वो दौड़ गया तो डिसअपॉइंटमेंट्स होती है डिसअपॉइंटिंग होती है हालांकि प्रॉफिट में था
See, disappointment definitely होंगे. See, what as we discussed, आप शायद अटेंड किए होगे पिछला सेशन आप, तो अच्छी बात है. नहीं किए तो
कल वाला नहीं किया बट पीछे वाले करे हुए मैंने दो.
कोई बात नहीं. See, हमने कल काफी अच्छे से डिस्कस किया था, इनफैक्ट 25 को. Right? See, basically, don't say that. See, all the test. The reason why I put when was RSI, created 1978. The only reason, not to show off our this thing research skills, right? आजकल तो research skills होता ही नहीं है. Google will give you better results than any other instructor anywhere in the world, right? So the reason why we put that is because it is time tested. Right? It is purely time tested. It's very well. So this is a good quality, reliable indicator used by experts. Okay. Now, the strategies, what we emphasized on the previous day is lots and lots of backtesting to have confidence in that indicator, right? We can show you the path, we can give you the tools, right? Ultimately, it's something which you have to do. So the path, so when we have chart pattern session, right? Maybe that's the time where we'll go a lot more deeper into it, that what are a good time to sell, what are the good time to buy, right? Or which are the good times to hold this thing. Ultimately, it is like stop loss stricter, and your profit should flow for a longer period of time. Even if you make 6 good trades, right? Or 6 good trading decisions, you'll make the amount of money you can make, right? You can't believe. Right? Don't go with 90%, 80% accuracy. There will be disappointments. There will be some things. There will be losses always. Right? 60% is too good a number. Not everybody can consistently make it for a longer period of time. I'm telling you that. Right? Unless
given
you are.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. I thought you were done. Given my scenarios, which time frames should I use?
You should use daily.
डेली एंड मतलब मैं अपने मेरे जो अलर्ट्स हैं वो डेली में सेट करूं मैं.
मार्केट आवर्स डेली में, जैसे आपको अलर्ट्स चाहिए ना, राइट? सो आप स्क्रीनर देखोगे, 2 होते हैं हमारे पास, राइट? एक होता है डेली, विच इज एंड ऑफ द डे, राइट? शाम के 5 बजे जो मार्केट 4:15 साढ़े 4 बजे के बाद ऑफिशियल प्राइस आता है एक्सचेंज से, राइट? सो दैट्स द टाइम वेयर दिस गेट्स अपडेटेड. ये समय अपडेट होता है. आपको चाहिए है ये वाला, राइट? ये भी डेली टिक यूज करता है, बट वो 9:15 से 10:15, 11:15, 12:15, मतलब 12:15 नहीं, हर 5-5 मिनट में वो कंटिन्यूसली जनरेट करता रहता है उसकी न्यू वैल्यू. एवरी टिक वी गेट फ्रॉम एक्सचेंज, वी अपडेट these values with this, right? So this will give you a good one. And swing trading में 5 मिनट का इतना अंतर भी नहीं आता. When you are doing like your primary focus is and basically multiple days, right? 5 मिनट के लिए इतना टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. Right? Because you cannot hit top, you cannot hit bottom.
Yeah. Okay. And anything more you like to help me to improve my trade?
See, we can have more either one-on-one session, right? I mean, or basically the best. There's only one mantra, right? There's only one mantra. कल वाले जो होंगे वो बोर हो गए होंगे, इसलिए चले भी गए होंगे, right? Is basically एक इंडिकेटर लो, उसको थॉरो एनालाइज करो, देखो आपको वर्क कर रहा है, then it's good. Okay, and I'll use that as a last. I don't know how I missed the yesterday session.
I don't know how I missed the yesterday session.
Sundays.
Sunday, I attended the Sunday session. I had been a part of both the sessions.
Okay. Yeah. We had those 2 sessions, right? See, I'll just take one more question, right, before we wrap up. I don't want the team to stay late. Of course, मैं तो
okay, please.
मुझे तो चलता है. एक किसी का last question है तो before we wrap up. Use TSR strength. It's a good one. It's a good starting point. See, all these things, right? Whatever we built is based on a certain mathematical formula, used with lot of backtesting. In the modern times, right? Just to create more impression, it uses AI ML. I mean, you guys don't need to understand what AI ML and other things are, right? All that you need to know is a number, right? Which works or doesn't work. There are only 2 things, or it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. How many times it works out of 100, right? That's what you need to know. Right, so TSR strength index is a very good one. Okay, so I hope that the session was useful to you guys. Right, thank you very much for staying late. See you tomorrow, same time. Yeah, for MACD. Again, a very interesting indicator. Thank you. Bye bye.